That sound can mean only one thing. It's another bunker episode of Stay on Topic. This is episode 32 and a half of your favorite podcast on YouTube. This is Stay on Topic. To my left is the Corning Elmira area's Antifa representative, Bob Ricotta. Antifa.
Antifa, okay. I thought that was one of those countries that had sent 4 oiled up guys to the Olympics.
Speaking of oiled up people, to his left is James Post, figure skating enthusiast and fanfic writer.
Wow. Right now I'm just looking at our levels and noticing that, God damn, Chris, you are always like twice as loud when you start actually recording than you are when we do sound checks.
I have a background in radio, James. I learned to talk like this.
Well, then you should talk like that during sound checks because
Okay.
it makes post-processing a little more complicated.
And I am Chris Gill, and I cannot stop watching that gif of Donald Trump's hair blowing off his scalp.
Yeah.
Can't do it. I've been watching that for like a solid 4 days.
That could be any of us someday. It could be you now.
I'm probably in the lead right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
If your hair was long enough to even have a comb over.
The very nice hairdresser said, actually, the shorter makes it look better because when it's long, it gets stringy and it shows stuff. Mm-hmm. That's what I was told. And she was adorable, so I believe her.
I hope that when the time comes, I go bald with some dignity and just go full on bald, at some point.
Yeah.
I'll just note Chris Gill still shopping around, but
No, I know someone who will be upset to hear that. So, kind of a blah week in real news. Mike Pence was a dick at the Olympics. Trump supported a wife beater. Any other news?
There's the Trump wants a parade.
The military.
yeah.
parade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that story has been reading like the Army subreddit with people talking about what a pain in the ass that would be, like real active duty military talking about they don't want to fucking do that. It's a pain in the ass. It's all these inspections. It's cleaning and maybe painting the whole motor pool so you can load it on trains to take it to DC, get it off the trains, at which point it's beat to shit again because it's been on a train for 500 miles. You get to clean it, maybe repaint it, just to do a parade the night before you're sleeping on a gym floor, all to not have the weekend off.
Not to mention the optics of this normally being set aside for like dictatorships.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the other side. The visual is just terrible because the reality is the countries that do that, they're showing off what they have.
Yeah.
That's not possible for us. There's no parade long enough to show off all of our military capacity.
And there's probably a lot of shit we don't want to show.
Yeah. And the reality is what makes our military work doesn't show up in a parade. Marching in formation in lockstep with the if they're, I don't know if they're going to do the jackbooted,
The drills.
what's the term I'm looking for where you kick your foot out really high when you
Goose step?
Goose stepping. Thank you. I suspect they wouldn't actually do that. I don't think they train for that, but that doesn't, we're all about, fast response and special forces and drones and, intelligence. And that's not at all reflected in what you would see in a military parade. It's just so not what we are.
I'm reversing my stance. I want to see a military parade of nothing but drones. That's my new stance. Actually, the coolest news from the week came from all the new. My God, there were 4 or 5 new movie trailers.
Yeah,
We got a little more look at Infinity War.
a little.
A little. I mean, a little more Guardians and Thor, which was cool. I think they really sold with the latest Infinity War trailer that ran during the Super Bowl. They really sold that, hey, all these guys are going to be in the same story in the same movie.
Yeah,
They didn't do a very good job of selling that in the first trailer
yeah.
that dropped. The new Han Solo that was more of a teaser. That's not a proper trailer.
Yeah,
But
when they won't even show his face.
Yeah. Interesting.
I
though.
really think they're worried about that movie. Not that I think they think it's bad, but I think they're really concerned about fan reaction.
Yeah, that was one they probably shouldn't have touched. Like, I would have gone for bring back Ewan McGregor for an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. I would have been down with that shit.
Yeah.
But the young Han Solo, the only thing that really makes me want to go see it is Ron Howard. Ron Howard doing sci-fi fantasy Star Wars. Fuck yeah, I'm in. I want to see that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, he does everything else so incredibly well that that's what I'm most interested in. The Deadpool 2 trailer also dropped. And what was most striking about that is they are going right after Marvel Studios with it. That's releasing in May 2018 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going right after them. And this is really the last big push for that before the merger actually goes through. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting. I kind of like the effects for Cable.
I have to admit I have not seen that trailer.
Oh,
I hadn't either.
no shit.
Nope.
Where the fuck you guys been?
Well, we were kind of flooded. You mentioned there were 5 new ones. That one
Yeah.
just went under my radar.
And Black Panther is going to release in a few days, and that hype train is just full steam.
Oh god, there's at this point there's starting to be real reviews out, and they're just spectacular.
Yeah, they've all been strong. What I hope they're not doing, pardon me, is what they did with Wonder Woman. The Wonder Woman reviews were just so enthusiastic because it was a movie driven by a female lead. And critics tripped over themselves trying to praise it when you go see it, it's not that great of a movie, or is not nearly as great as they made it out to be.
Yeah, but
And I'm afraid they're doing the same thing with Black Panther, just to say, hey, here is an all-black superhero movie. This is great. This is awesome. Well, let's be the judge of that. Because we don't know what it's going to be like. We heard the same shit coming from the Luke Cage series, and that was half good.
No, it was good and a half.
it was very good, and I'm assuming that your reaction to the Black Panther movie is going to be somewhat muted for obvious reasons. And
damn it,
I can't help you with that.
Really
all I could do is try and bring you into the fold.
Also dropped just a couple days ago was the Jessica Jones season 2 trailer.
Also have not seen.
What the fuck do you guys do with your spare time?
What are they doing villain-wise with that?
They were very tight-lipped about that.
Yeah.
All they showed at the very end were clapping hands. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, because, that Purple Man is really the only story run she's known for.
Yeah.
I'm okay with them going off canon.
Yeah, no, but I mean, they don't have anything to go back to that there's sort of an iconic relationship between her and some rogues gallery.
No.
There's just not.
No, there isn't. This season 2, is going to drop March 8th. So not too long from now, which is,
wow,
that's dope.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that.
For my money, Jessica Jones was still the class of that whole the Marvel Knights.
Yeah, narratively, leaps and bounds better than anything else. Visually, I'd put the Daredevils above Jessica Jones, and then there's Iron Fist.
But what I loved the most visually about Jessica Jones is the way they treated her strength and her abilities so matter-of-factly, which fits so well with the character.
See, I had a problem with the way they treated her abilities. You really weren't sure her strength level. You weren't sure. They didn't do a very good job setting parameters of this is what she can do and here's her limit.
And that's something that usually bothers me. In the case of that series, I totally bought into it because it fit the character so well. She doesn't care about her abilities. She uses them when she has to, the same way you and I would punch a guy if we had to.
Limp-wristed?
Probably.
Okay.
And I'd probably break my hand.
Yeah, but she thinks of herself as a detective
Yeah.
who also has superpowers. And I agree. I'm okay with the undefined power set. At some point, they will have to put it to a test.
Yeah.
I don't want her to just to be a Swiss Army knife of abilities whenever she needs one.
Yeah. And, like Luke Cage was throwing her around. Luke Cage's actual strength in terms of comic book canon, he's not much stronger
He's
than...
like Captain America strong.
He's somewhere between Captain America and the Punisher. Like, he's not even as strong as Captain America.
Right.
But he
Yeah.
was throwing somebody with actual superpowers around like a rag doll.
Yeah.
And that's where I got into the problem with what is her fucking power set? How can she be thrown around by this guy? Okay, how powerful is Luke Cage now? Why is he so powerful?
Right.
Well, and to me, I think that just is. It needed to fit the dramatic intent of the scene, more than anybody really thinking about relative power levels.
Yeah, that's the only thing that really bothered me. But season 2 looks like it's really going to concentrate on how she got her powers. She's using her detective work to figure out, who did this to her and why. And it alluded to there are also others that underwent this process, which is really intriguing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty dope. On the game front, news leaked about a Google game streaming service called the Yeti.
Yeah.
Not a lot of details. I don't know if they're going to deal in original content or if they are going to like redo Missile Command.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I suspect that they're not going to be able to support it with original content because there's would just not be enough to launch with to support what I'm assuming is going to be a subscription service.
Right.
But the technology is getting there. PlayStation Now, for all of the flack it takes, I still think it's overpriced.
Way overpriced.
As for those who don't know, that's PlayStation's streaming service where you can play a selection of PS3 and PS4 games on a PS4, and it works decently well. I had a subscription for a few months, basically just to play particular games that happened to be on the service, and with my current setup, which I have, luckily enough, really fairly decent internet here. I didn't have a lot of lag issues, and I was playing Devil May Cry on there.
Oh my!
Yeah, I played through DMC 3 and 4 because I'd never played them before. I played through on that server and didn't have lag issues. So I think the technology is there, especially if you're going to go full bore into it like a Google would, rather than the more half-assed approach that I think Sony has taken.
Well, in other news leaked about a PS5, which is rumored, again, to be mainly a streaming type service. And speculation is Xbox is also moving in that direction. So in another few years, that could be the new standard. And so long GameStop.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I thought this current generation, when it came out in 2013, 2014?
Yeah.
I figured that they were going to slowly wean us off the physical media, but they haven't been able to.
No, and it's, when you see the sort of mid-cycle resets that they did with the PS4 Pro and the One X, it seems like they're starting to feel constrained by the update cycle as far as the hardware goes.
Yeah.
Obviously, moving to a straight streaming platform, I have no idea what a pricing model would look like. I have no idea how you deal with developers and publishers in that kind of environment. Who gets paid for what and how often, and that's completely uncharted territory. I mean,
yeah.
Because it's not like Netflix where it's, And if they're going to be dividing up licenses, and that's going to be exclusives. You know, people already complain about exclusives. It's 50 times worse than console exclusives.
Right.
If you know, Sony and Microsoft are going to be bidding for who gets Square Enix.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's going to be awful for everyone.
Yeah.
But I see the upside in that all you have to do is keep updating that back end hardware. You know, when you want your graphical fidelity and stuff to move forward.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that could lengthen that generation's life for, oh my God.
Ever.
Yeah, in theory.
Yeah, and as you know, for however long the outputs and the video settings, you know, that are available on that device are supported, and you know that's something that would be easy to refresh without changing the back end.
Yeah, so this, I mean, no avoiding it.
Presumably that, you know, that device could be fairly cheap.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's not doing much work. You know, I've got in my living room, which is 15 feet away from us, I've got a Steam Link, which is a device that streams my computer games from my PC to my television. It's obviously different as far as the streaming technology because it's just using the local network.
Right.
And since I have AC Wi-Fi, that works really well. But it's a $15 box when it's on sale because that's all it's doing.
Yeah.
So, you know, but then you get into pricing models and what that subscription would cost, or, you know, if we're talking about per game subscriptions,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if we're, you know, moving entirely to games as service where, you know, if you want to play Battlefront 4, you're going to pay $15 a month for as long as you're playing Battlefront 4. And when you stop paying, you don't play anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
How fast does that add up? You know, even if you are only paying $50 for the hardware.
And how are they going to reimagine microtransactions and DLC and yeah. Yeah. Lot of questions, but that's where the industry's going. That's where it wanted to go 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's inevitable. But the real reason we all gathered here tonight is for, what is this, our third bunker list?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Third bunker list. The bunker list, for those who don't know, is, yeah, North Korea and the U.S. are trading nukes back and forth. You got to scramble into the bunker, and you can only bring 5 things with you. We've done music, 5 CDs, cassettes, if that's your thing. Would you want to bring? And we did
Television shows.
Television series. This time we're doing the top 5 people that you're not related to or in a personal relationship with that you want to spend nuclear winter with in the bunker. We had some really good feedback online. Some people, I think, overthought this one. Like Eric Hoffman, who wanted to spend 20 years of nuclear winter with Albert Einstein, Marilyn Monroe, Muhammad Ali, Ray Bradbury, and Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan would not be that interesting to spend any time with.
No, but he'd be a calming influence when Muhammad Ali got uppity.
Wow. And we have a new podcast, Racist.
That was terrific. Wow, and we just got a text message from our buddy Eric Wenzel about this very topic. Eric wants to spend nuclear winter with Hunter S. Thompson. Wow, that's a great call.
Honestly, to interrupt, Hunter S. was on my short list. Every interview I've ever seen or read, he's a total asshole.
But he would he would bring the drugs.
I would already that's already in my go bag.
Yeah.
Besides Hunter S., Jerry Garcia, Bill Murray.
Jerry Garcia, another well-known asshole when he's not on the horse.
And Babe Ruth. I mean, I guess a drinking buddy. Babe Ruth would be a great drinking buddy.
I'm sure he'd get along with you.
That is one drugged out drunk bunker.
Yeah, that is. Oof.
You could just go back and forth for hours about how ridiculous the Negro Leagues were.
Every episode. Mark Webster had probably the most eclectic group.
Yeah, that tends to happen.
He wants to spend nuclear winter with Jose Andres, a chef, I'm told. Tom Silva from This Old House, so he could build him shit. Dr. Vandermeer, his wife's surgeon. Great doctor. Now, for Mark, we did say no personal relationships, so that one doesn't count.
Yeah.
That was part of the rules, Mark. You've got to read this stuff. Jack Spurko, a survival podcast guy. And Mike Rowe, the Dirty Jobs guy.
See, I've always gotten the feeling he doesn't really know how to do fucking anything.
Mike Rowe or Mark?
Mike Rowe.
Okay.
We'll discuss the other one off mic.
And Wenzel just texted back his fifth. It was Mel Brooks. See, that'd be a lot of fun. Mel Brooks would be a shitload of fun.
And no, not because he's Jewish. Let's just get that.
What, are you going to eat all the beans? Yeah.
How do things go so wrong?
You mean so right?
You got three of us in a room.
All right.
It always goes wrong. Arthur Gill, some relation, chose... I'm hoping he meant Johann Sebastian Bach and not Sebastian Bach.
I don't know.
I should have asked for clarification on that.
Could go either way.
I think you'd be the best judge. What do you think he meant?
I think he meant Sebastian Bach,
You really?
not Johann Sebastian Bach.
Yeah.
He also chose George Foreman, Elon Musk. Elon can't do shit for you in the bunker. Currency means nothing now.
But he's inventive?
I guess. And Bear Grylls for survival.
Yeah.
But the bunker's well stocked.
See, okay, when I did my bunker list, I did not think of people who could help me survive. I thought about interesting people
Same.
that I want to talk to for 20 years.
That's kind of how I read it too. And that's my wife kind of had the same reaction. She was talking about people who she would want when she got out, you know, people who had useful skills.
Did she actually submit a list? She did not formally submit a list, did she?
No,
Thanks for the support back.
of course. She still thinks this is all a fool's errand.
Well,
It's like, when are you going to make your money back on all that sound equipment, James?
we have 30 views that would say otherwise. Paul Peters chose, and I like Paul's list, except for one was really weird. Marilyn Monroe,
What's with Marilyn Monroe?
Betty Page, Graham Chapman, Francis Marion, and J. Robert Oppenheimer.
Well, I think Oppenheimer's work's done. He's not going to help you any down there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. It seems like an odd person to have in your fallout shelter.
Yeah.
Maybe he was going for irony?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. And our
Maybe he'd be able to tell you when it's safe to go out.
I don't
Well,
know
then why
where
not
that's
just bring
Sitting
Geiger?
there with a blackboard doing the math.
And best friend of the show, Lord Buffington,
Da, 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 da.
chose Abraham Lincoln. I'm going to murder this guy's first name. I'm not even going to say it. Miyamoto.
Oh, Shigeru Miyamoto.
Thank you.
Do you know who that is?
He, I know he's like one of the most visionary game devs in the history of gaming.
Creator of Mario, Donkey Kong, Legend of Zelda. Basically every foundational game in modern
Yeah,
history.
once in a while, Nintendo drags him back out for E3, and everyone, fanboys out.
Yeah.
He also chose Alexander the Great, which would fucking suck because he'd want to conquer y'all.
Yeah.
Leonardo da Vinci, He'd
Yeah.
draw some nice pictures.
Renaissance guy.
And Jack Kirby, which I thought was weird.
Interesting.
Very interesting, because Jack Kirby is kind of a loner. Like, he's not front
Weird?
and center.
A weird loner? The kind of person who just couldn't get along with people at all?
Okay, Jack Kirby, the artist, the comic book artist.
Yeah, not the little pink thing.
No, I'm thinking of who's the guy who used to come on David Letterman with the animals?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know who you're thinking of.
I was like, I could get on board. I bet he'd be interesting, especially if he brought some animals.
I just wish you'd phrased that differently. But anyway.
Are we doing phrasing again? Is phrasing a thing? Anyway.
Yeah, so that was the feedback that we got. James, however, I think had the most... How would you
Don't
define
say
it?
interesting.
No, I can't. I can't say interesting.
You know,
Mind-boggling?
Well, you were talking about Jack Kirby being kind of a loner, and I was saying, weird loner. I'm the weird loner. I repeatedly sat down and tried to put this list together, and every time I had this visceral mental reaction, the idea of being locked up with 5 strangers, unable to get away for 20 years, and it didn't matter who those people were. No matter which people I tried to put in that place, it was still horrifying to me. Given the option, I would rather be and presuming I couldn't be with my family and friends, I would rather be alone for that 20 years than be with any 5 strangers that I could think of. And I think that says obviously a lot more about me than anything else.
That you would sabotage your own podcast.
Yeah. Maybe I should have thought more about this when we were discussing the topic. But no, I just kept trying to come up with a list, and the whole idea was just repulsive. And my mind kept going back to Sartre and
Hell is other people.
yeah, and No Exit, which I've always thought was an interesting title because the French title is Huis Clos, which is literally closed doors. Which is
This just got really fucking deep for a bunker list.
but it reads very differently. If they'd done a literal translation, that would sound very different than No Exit. But anyway, that's all I could think of is just how hellish it would become no matter who those people were. After 20 years, I would hate them all. I think only one of us would be alive at the end. It probably wouldn't be me, no matter who the group was, unless it was 5 Stephen Hawkings. I'm assuming just about anybody else could out-sneak or out-fight me. But no, just yeah.
Okay, then let's spin it. What 5 people will you save and take into the bunker with you of your family and friends?
Oh, no. No. Obviously you two.
Nice.
Not really.
So he's not going to bite on that one.
No.
Nor should he.
You don't have it even like in your head, like, okay,
Well,
I can only take 5 cherished ones with me into the bunker. You don't kind of have a short list?
Not that I'm going to say out loud.
Okay. I thought everyone did this in their heads. Okay.
Bob, would the wife be on the list?
Yes.
That was a long pause.
That's a tough one. A rare interjection from Mrs. Post.
In the edit, you have to turn that up.
Yeah.
All right, so Bob,
All
let's
right.
get in ours.
Well,
Who's your first guest you're taking to the bunker?
My first one isn't a household name. Stephen Jay Gould. He's a paleontologist an evolutionary biologist and a historian of science. He was one of those most influential and widely read writers of popular science. He taught at Harvard and worked at the American Museum of Natural History. He published 28 books, and in 2000, the Library of Congress named him a living legend. He was famous for the theory of punctual equilibrium, which punctuated, thank you. Punctuated equilibrium.
Equilibrium's always on time.
Which has been thoroughly debunked.
Has it?
I feel like it has.
Oh, that's a problem.
Biologists may disagree with me.
This is the nerdiest fucking episode we've ever done.
Anyway, have you ever read any Gould?
Not a whole book, though.
He makes a topic that I'm very interested in, which is evolution and biology, and he makes them very accessible. He's a good writer, and I just think he would be very interesting to listen to for 20 years. He was definitely very big in the whole creationism versus evolution debate. He's devoted several books to debunking creationism. And it's something I'm passionate about.
Shouldn't be hard to debunk, you know? I mean, it seems kind of black and white to me.
So, Stephen Jay Gould, number 1 on my list.
Wow, I did not go that deep.
Okay.
My list is so fucking superficial. The first guy...
God, Bob, you have full pages for each one?
No.
Okay.
I got lazy.
First guy I would grab is Neil Adams. Neil Adams is the artist who reinvented Batman in the 70s. He bridges the gap between the Silver Age comics into the modern age, and he is still drawing, still writing. He also kind of shepherded in the photorealism style of comic book art, which really wasn't a thing before.
It's a guy who could airbrush the hell out of the side of a van.
Oh my God, yes.
You're thinking a graphic artist would be a great conversationalist for 20 years?
If you have ever heard Neil Adams talk, you would know why I want him in the bunker.
Okay.
That's his professional resume. What he really did was he was the guy that got Siegel and Schuster some money back from all the Superman stuff back in the 70s. He really charged for the artists, the writers, the artists, pencilers, inkers, colorists, letterers. He knows more about...
Letterers deserve nothing.
Wow. Brutal. He knows more about the industry than anybody else. Fuck Stan Lee. Neil Adams has been in the trenches his entire career. And he's also done everything from like advertising to, the daily newspaper strips. I mean, this guy is an industry legend and a hell of a talker. He is not afraid to spill the beans about every closed-door meeting he ever had. Kevin Smith did an absolutely spellbinding 3-part podcast with him. When you stretch it out, it was 6 hours long. This guy is a talker and one of the most interesting people about a subject that I thoroughly enjoy. So Neil Adams was the first guy I'd take.
Interesting. Well,
and I would just like to interject for those listening in the future that there's a very strong chance that both those two men, as well as anyone else who appears on Chris or Bob's list, will likely, if not certainly, be revealed in the future to be womanizers, molesters, rapists. Fundamentally, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's a probably for most public figures. So we're just going to say now we're not endorsing whatever horrible things these people might have done that we don't know about yet.
Well, we'll find out in the bunker. Bob, who's your next?
Well, we go from one Neil to another. A Neil deGrasse Tyson.
He would be interesting as hell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A smart guy in the bunker to talk to for 20 years.
Who knows how to dumb it down.
Yes.
And much more interesting than Neil Young, which is what I thought you
We could go with Neil Young, Bob Dylan, and Tom Petty.
Wow, that would be boring.
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson, as you said, very accessible. I loved his Cosmos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just makes... He knows a lot about a lot of interesting stuff.
And he's got a wicked sense of humor.
Yes.
Like, really good.
And he is a champion of climate science and, once again takes on the religious right and climate deniers. And so he passes the liberal test.
That's important. You wouldn't want anyone in your bunker with your 20 years to spare who would ever challenge your pre-existing notions.
No, because I'm going to be king of the bunker.
So I hope you're choosing people that you could also physically best.
Well, they've all got they get...
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
Thank you. Their heads explode if they defy me. There were 6 people in the bunker.
This has become an extremely elaborate setup.
I spent a lot of time alone walking the dog.
You don't want to just have one of those big inflatable balls that tracks them down like in The Prisoner?
How big do you think this bunker is?
Okay.
Or from the Black Mirror episode Metalhead. Yep. Okay, not everyone's up on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm still working through season 1.
Judas Priest. They're not long seasons, man.
Speaking of Judas Priest, did you see the Judas Priest news?
Oh yeah, is it Glenn Tipton?
Yeah.
It has Parkinson's.
Yeah.
That's the end of a brilliant guitar playing career.
Yeah.
Like one half of...
Is it the end though? Because I didn't read that. I mean, he's
He's
just diagnosed or
quit
can't
touring.
play anymore?
I mean, if you quit touring,
Yeah.
you're pretty much done.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to. That came into my head, and I know it's close to your heart. So
Much like my second choice for the bunker, Madeline Kahn.
Huh?
wow.
You get eye candy and a funny damn lady down in the bunker with you for 20 years? Hell's yes.
Okay.
Give me Madeline Kahn. For those unfamiliar, Madeline Kahn is the funniest woman in any Mel Brooks movie ever. Like, nobody can touch her. She was also in Clue. I believe she was Miss Scarlet in Clue.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious. Gorgeous to look at. You need some eye candy in the bunker.
I would have gone with the other one from Young Frankenstein.
Terry Garr?
Terry Garr, yeah.
Terry Garr, not as funny.
No,
No.
but
And-
better looking.
Possibly.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll have to fight about that off mic.
Oh. Yeah, Madeline Kahn would be a damn hoot. And she'd have all these great stories about Harvey Korman, Mel Brooks. And so Madeline Kahn is going in the bunker with me, and she's going to be great.
She doesn't have a say in it.
Nope. Yeah, let's preface that. None of these people have a say.
Well,
Like,
let's assume they want to. We got the last spot in the last bunker.
okay.
Let's just, I mean, it's our...
They're stuck with you.
Yeah. Oh, who do you got, Bob?
I got Joss Whedon.
Nice.
Yeah. He could probably spin a yarn or two.
Hell yeah. And funny guy.
Yeah.
Super funny guy.
Yep. So,
An adulterer?
yes, but as far as I know, no physical, nothing.
No.
I mean, I don't care if he cheats on his wife. I just don't want him to beat her up. That's a moral compass, right?
Yeah.
You could apply that to Trump.
Yeah, and I do apply that to Trump. I don't care if he cheats on his wife. I don't care if he pays a porn star to keep quiet about an affair. Just,
Govern?
well, I guess I draw the line at any kind of abuse.
Right.
Say grabbing people by their genitals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, Joss Whedon. So and the first 3 were very easy for me, and it kind of became a Rorschach of things I'm interested in.
Yeah, same.
And Joss brings the sci-fi and fantasy.
And for those who don't know, Joss Whedon's accomplishments include
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the best show ever. Firefly, the second best show ever. Avengers 2, Cabin in the Woods.
my favorite. Love that movie.
Dollhouse.
Yeah.
You left out Angel.
Angel,
Toy Story.
much under. Angel was good. It was
Well, and he wasn't really wasn't really the primary showrunner on that show.
Right.
So
right. I think he had some writing on Roseanne.
Yeah.
yeah,
But I mean, the man launched the Toy Story and
yeah.
by proxy Pixar.
Yeah.
Well, he's been one of the great script doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Except for the Alien movie. But yeah.
And I didn't dislike it that much, but anyway, everyone else did, so I'll accept that.
He could spin a yarn, and man, the guy is just like so subversive with his humor. Like, he's a really great addition.
Yeah.
Good call.
Thank you.
I went with, like you said, the Rorschach test of all your interests. Dan Gurney is coming into the goddamn bunker with me. For those who don't know, Dan Gurney was the inventor, racer, car builder, car owner. The man did everything. He built his own Formula One car. He built his own Indy cars and won with them. He invented the champagne spray in Victory Lane, for fuck's sake. He is Americana through and through. He conquered the goddamn Italians at Le Mans with the Ford GT, driving with AJ Foyt. The guy was a living legend. He just passed last month. And talk about somebody who is just unafraid to lay it out for you. Dan Gurney is just no bullshit. And he just tells it like it is. I've been fortunate enough to spend about a half hour talking with him in the past.
Oh,
What?
are we running up against one of our rules?
Was he name dropping?
No. He was a subject of 2 separate stories I did.
So that doesn't count as a personal connection?
Not a personal relationship.
Okay.
Unlike Mark Webster's wife's doctor.
The gynecologist. I don't get that.
Wow.
Yeah, Dan Gurney is the fucking man. He is the epitome of American ingenuity and innovation. And All American Racers, where he built all these amazing things, is still running strong on his legacy. Dan Gurney's coming into the goddamn basement with me. Or bunker. Yeah.
7 minutes in the bunker. Bunker after dark.
Ricardo, who do you got next?
This may be
I
my
think
favorite.
it just let something really troubling slip. But anyway.
This may be my favorite. Gary Gygax,
Oh, God.
the creator of Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
Imagine the marathon sessions
Oh,
we could have
man.
for 20 years.
Have you
with Neil
read
deGrasse.
the shit he wrote?
No. I mean, why? Is there something troubling I should know?
No, but he wrote the worst adventure modules ever.
But he created the game.
Yeah, fair enough.
But to play D&D for 20 years with Neil deGrasse Tyson, Stephen Jay Gould, Joss Whedon.
That was really the goal now, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want a gaming group that won't leave me. That won't move and not tell me. And damn it, I don't want to be the cleric.
I'd be the cleric, but no one ever wants to play with me.
Well, that's because you don't want us in your bunker.
You want anybody in the bunker.
So that's number 4, Gary Gygax, the creator of Dungeons and Dragons.
I can't wait to hear who your last pick is just to round out this session. That's going to be dope. My next one is George Carlin. Talk
Yeah.
about somebody you can talk about anything with and has that biting sense of humor. And I think he would play brilliantly off the other members of the bunker.
See, I would have gone with Sinbad, but
I love that pick. If any of my 5 drop out,
Sinbad.
he's my 6th.
Well, he's got some street cred because he was on that episode of Always Sunny.
And American Dad. He was
No one likes American Dad.
American Dad is the funniest animated show on television currently.
No.
There's not even a close second. It's hilarious.
Wow.
I don't even know you.
Apparently, someone's never seen Two Broke Girls.
Animated.
Animated.
animated. Apparently, someone's never seen Kat Dennings' boobs.
Oh, I've seen it.
Oh,
Yep.
happening?
Happening.
Wow.
James had such high hopes
What have I
for
done
this
with my life?
podcast.
Obviously, I didn't. I didn't even have a thing for this podcast.
And we
I
come
had
up,
no expectations at all.
and we come up with the happening.
For those of you listening at home, Chris Gill just admitted to watching or viewing photos that were stolen from women who had pictures taken of them unwillingly, or basically he just admitted to looking at revenge porn.
Not really revenge. I mean, the cloud was hacked. It wasn't motivated by revenge. You're not properly defining
it's morally
it.
troubling.
So yeah, George Carlin, who you got?
All right. My last spot goes to Rita Moreno.
What?
Wow.
Okay. So I'm looking over my list, and the first four were really easy. And I'm like, wait a minute, these are all guys. So I have to find a woman for the bunker. I got to find a woman. And so I was like, well, they each represent some of my interests. I'll find like a Julia Childs or another. But then I was like, so the only woman in my bunker is going to be doing the cooking, huh? So I was like, no, I can't do that. So I was like, all right, Sandra Day O'Connor, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who else would I want in
Eye
there?
candy.
And I was like, well, if I'm going to have a woman in there, I could kill two birds with one stone and get a Hispanic woman. And the first Hispanic woman that popped into my head was Rita Moreno.
No. No, she isn't.
She's not?
She's not.
She's not Hispanic?
She is actually full-blooded Taino Indian.
How do you
Really?
know this?
She's actually native Puerto Rican.
Wow.
How do you know this? Off the top of your head. That's it.
Because I'm a massive fan of West Side Story.
And Rita Moreno fanfic. So yeah, I panicked and picked Rita Moreno, even though apparently she's not Hispanic.
No.
Do you need to
It's
change
still
it
some
now?
diversity.
Well,
Maybe go Jennifer Lopez.
Who
or
else
something?
was going to have a Native American in their bunker?
yeah,
Not Chris.
Ah,
good point.
Madeline Kahn.
All right, I'm sticking by Rita Moreno.
And the good thing about Madeline Kahn, she's white.
Everybody in my bunker.
Yes. I noticed that.
As soon as we started doing the Luke Cage Black Panther thing, I'm like, oh, fuck. James is going to just run with this.
You couldn't find a black race driver to put in your bunker.
Willie T would have been awesome to have
Really
in the bunker.
T-Rex. He's got at least got to have good stories.
Willie T tells some tales. He would have been a good one.
So finish up strong.
Yep. Ben Franklin.
Okay.
Ben Franklin is just a dude. Like, he likes to drink. He likes to sleep around. And the guy tells some great stories and has some just solid wisdom.
And we already know about his sexual turpitude, so we don't have to worry about what'll come out in the future.
Yeah. I keep going back to the fapping. And to like be in the same room with Ben Franklin and George Carlin bullshitting, that'd be great.
And Dan Gurney.
And Dan oh man, yeah. Yeah.
See, the chemistry's all off for me in your bunker, but it's coming from somebody who doesn't have one, so I guess I should shut the fuck up.
One of the people who instantly came to mind, but I later rejected, was Prince.
Nah, he wouldn't be too sociable.
He'd be off-putting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as you want to... James and I were talking, I think, right before you got here, like, a lot of people want to choose, like, musicians and writers, and usually they're loners and not terribly interesting to talk to because they're introverts. So I tried to stay away from that. I tried to go with people that I knew could really entertain the shit out of you by just bullshitting.
And that's okay, and that explains a lot, because that's me. I'm a musician and a writer and an introvert, and not very interesting to talk to.
So should we do the 5 people? No, we shouldn't do that.
What?
He wants to do the 5 people.
Yeah, we totally shouldn't do that.
No, you shouldn't do that.
No, that's terrible. Terrible idea. We're terrible people, obviously. Yeah, so any thoughts to wrap up? Like, did you have I know you mentioned a couple, like, standbys in case Rita Moreno couldn't make it.
What if she's busy?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm going in Ed's bunker down the way.
Well, Rip Taylor makes every short list.
Oh, shit. That shtick would get old, like, after a few weeks.
I was going to say 45 to 50 seconds, but
And the confetti budget alone.
Run out of confetti, then what? He's throwing around your canned corn.
You're in a bunker. Just pick it up. Where's it going to go? You can use the same confetti forever.
Play us out.
Yeah, that's some bizarre goddamn list. We good with this 32 and a half?
I don't think it's going to get any better at this point.
No, I'm not going to say I'm good with it, but I think we've accomplished all that we can.
Okay, well, let's figure out next week's. James, you know what to do.
Hit stop.
Play us out.
I'm just going to hit stop.
Okay.
Okay.